Welcome to the channel, guys. My name is Jess. So Bitcoin has had a really busy week. We rallied all the way up to 98,000, breaking out of a major short-term downtrend just to crash back down to 95 last night. We're going to dive into the video today to talk about the recent developments on the short-term price action and what they mean for the future of Bitcoin, including the massive week we have ahead of us and what exactly to watch out for. Before we dive in, make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to get regular Bitcoin analysis every Wednesday and Saturday. And join my free Telegram if you're after even more regular updates. If you're a trader and you're interested in my VIP channel, you can get more details over here. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trading setups with exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. Alrighty guys, so jumping into the charts, let's talk about the recent price action before we dive into our analysis. So the last couple of days for Bitcoin has honestly been really crazy and really busy. So in my last video, we talked about this structure developing here on the short time frame and how it spelled a lot of danger for Bitcoin, because if we invert the chart, it's essentially a ascending triangle, or a descending triangle on a regular chart, eventually potentially leading to the absorption of this level of support here on the next retest of 93,800 and a potential measured move that could have taken Bitcoin as low as 86,000, which would have dropped it below a couple really major levels of high time frame support. Fortunately, after this retest of 93,800 over here, we did see a successful bounce from Bitcoin after that deviation low, and we broke out of the structural downtrend over here. So that invalidated that super bearish structure we had developing on the short time frame charts, and we went on to rally up to retest the prior high in that downtrend at $98,000. Now, this is where Bitcoin saw its first sort of failure. We had a short time frame breakout, but that breakout was unable to sustain into a high time frame bullish continuation as we rejected from this prior high. Now, we also had some news come out as well where Bybit also got hacked, the exchange. I don't think there were any long-term consequences for the exchange itself, but needless to say, there were a massive amount of liquidations in that hack, and Bitcoin dropped all the way back down to $95,000. I think over $100 million in long liquidations occurred in just 1 hour alone. So let's dive into the analysis today and talk about how the recent developments in the short time frame price action are shaping up the charts, what to expect on the more immediate term, as well as the high time frame charts as well, and what the consequences of this recent correction has been on the daily and the weekly time frame. So starting off our analysis on the short time frame, let's zoom over to the hourly chart and take a look at the recent correction. So off the bat, we can see, just taking a look at momentum over here, we do have some hidden bullish divergence. We've got these two higher lows on the price action and lower lows on the RSI. So we have an increase, or a drastic increase, in selling pressure over here, which has been successfully absorbed by the buyers and the support sitting at 95,000. And that is a really good sign and tells us that for the time being on the short time frame, it doesn't look like we should be pushing past this recent low, right? And that we should be seeing some sort of vaguely successful bounce. In fact, it's kind of already happened. We've already bounced about 1% and a little bit from the bottom here at $95,000. Some pretty key levels to look out for on the short time frame moving upwards that are going to trigger a bullish continuation include these two change of character levels over here. So we have the first one at 96.7. We can see it historically acting as a level of resistance flipped to support over here, and it also currently has confluence with our 200 EMA on the hourly chart. Just above that, we have that prior really key level of short time frame support as well, of course, and now changed to resistance in that flip downwards at $98,000 as well. So if Bitcoin's able to flip that as support, we should see a continuation on the short time frame to test that range high over here at 99,000, and of course at 99,000, if we're able to clear above that level on the hourly chart, we should see a bullish continuation. If we zoom out a little bit though, the overall short time frame charts, because of the recent sort of crash and rally, are pretty much kind of very similar to the way that they were sitting in my prior video, right? Of course, we've negated the really bearish structure that we had developing here on the short time frame charts, and that's a really great sign, and we've sort of established this support here, and the buyers are, we can see on the hourly chart, really successfully defending that level. But overall, we are still sort of in that neutral territory, right, where we can on the short term expect a bounce, but whether or not that bounce actually takes us into any sort of higher time frame bullish continuation is still a question up for debate, and that takes us into the higher time frame analysis as well. So in essence, the good news is that we've invalidated that really bearish structure that we had in the last video in this rally to 98,000 and breaking out that structural downtrend. And, you know, in the recent crash, even though we rejected from 98, we were able to establish a sort of higher low over here, and we can see a lot of sort of, I guess, demand for Bitcoin at these lower levels. However, even though the short time frame really doesn't look that bad, and, you know, we don't necessarily start to look bearish until we fall below this prior low, it is sort of still a band-aid for the higher time frame charts, right? Because on the higher time frame, things still aren't really shaping up all that great just yet. And we need to actually break above this prior high and flip $100,000 on the daily chart to a level of support in order to establish a sort of higher time frame bullish continuation, which as the price action develops on the high time frame charts is becoming more and more crucial. So let's move over to the daily and the weekly time frame and talk about all of that. If we take a look at the weekly chart, we can see that the crash has actually had potentially a much larger sort of consequence on the weekly time frame. So if we take a look at the candle over here, we're about 2 days away from the weekly candle close, and prior to the crash down to 95,000, we were actually beginning to print quite a bullish weekly candle close, one of the most bullish weekly candle closes that we've seen in nearly 3 to 4 weeks now, right? We're engulfing both the prior red candles on the weekly time frame, sitting at $98,000, right? And on top of that, we were also breaking out of this major RSI downtrend that Bitcoin had been traveling in over the last 3-month period, right? So momentum was finally starting to flip positive on the higher time frame charts. Now, because of the crash, we risk potentially forming another rickshaw candle or another sort of doji candle here on the weekly time frame and remaining below this RSI downtrend. Again, sort of leading to the probabilities of seeing a continued bearish move on the high time frame being just that slightly bit higher, right? Because momentum is still negative. Until we flip it positive, we can expect that overall the price action should therefore be a little bit more negative. Now, what we can also see in this weekly candle is that we went on to retest the weekly low or the range low on this sort of weekly chart here. That is the candle close for the low down at 93,500. So we want to see and make sure that when we get these retests of lows on the weekly time frame, that Bitcoin is seeing a strong bounce, right? Because that suggests that at those sort of really significant support retests that we're seeing enough buying pressure at those lower levels to reverse the price action back upwards. So clearly the next 2 days of price action are really important, and it would be great to see Bitcoin's weekly close engulf the prior opening price at 96,500 and also break back above that RSI downtrend once again. If we take a look at the daily time frame, we can see what would trigger a higher time frame bullish continuation, and that would be a breakout from our daily chart range here, starting from our most crucial base of support at 91,000 and ending at 100,000. We can see every single time we flip that as a base of support, we generally tend to see a bullish continuation to those sort of range high resistances at 108 and $110,000. So the recent sort of crash here from Bitcoin from 98,000 unfortunately invalidated that potential here for the short time being. But if Bitcoin is able to push above 99,000 over here, that recent local high established on the short time frame charts, we should see a bullish continuation to $100,000, the range high for that prior downtrend as well. And in closing a daily candle above that level and flipping it to support, we should see the start of a higher time frame bullish continuation, right? On the weekly chart, that would very likely mean as well that we break above the weekly range, ending at $104,000, the candle close for the all-time high, and also break out of both the daily time frame and weekly time frame RSI downtrends, right? The display of decreasing momentum that we've had for the last 3 months. So lots of really crucial price action to be happening over the next week period, and a lot to watch out from Bitcoin on the short time frame and the high time frame charts as well. Alrighty guys, that is a wrap on the analysis today. Thank you for tuning in for another episode. If you guys liked the video or you learned something, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to get regular Bitcoin analysis every Wednesday and Saturday. And join my free Telegram channel for more regular updates. If you're a trader and you're interested in my VIP channel, don't forget to contact me on Telegram for more details. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!